Doomslayer has been one of the hottest topics since Smash DLC was announced. At this point, hundreds of videos have been produced about his chances to get into Smash. However, another piece of information to discuss regarding the topic came out on Tuesday. In a Doom Eternal hands-on preview and interview, game director Marty Stratton was posed with some questions about Slayer's chances in Smash. Here's how that section of the interview went down. What about the rumors of Doomslayer being in Smash Bros? Do you think it could happen? I don't know, we've asked them. You asked them? Yeah. Well, that's how Solid Snake got in. Would they discount it just because of the gore and violence though? I don't know. You would honestly have to ask them. We've never been approached and said, hey, can Doom Guy be in Smash Bros? But we're open-minded if they want to ask. But we hear it all the time from fans. Who would say no? But you did ask them. We've had... I don't even know who talked to who, but we've bantered with them. We have a great relationship with them through bringing Doom 2016 to Switch and that kind of stuff. So we have great people over there, but it's one of those things where it's like, wouldn't it be cool? But it's never gone anywhere serious, so we'll see. Now, developer deconfirmations are always an interesting topic, because I've always erred on the side of not being able to gather too much information from them one way or the other. The term you'll often hear thrown around in these types of cases is NDA, otherwise known as non-disclosure agreement. An NDA is a contract through which the parties agree not to disclose information covered by the agreement. Now, the funny thing about NDAs in the Smash speculation scene is that oftentimes the people talking about what they mean have never actually signed one in the first place. NDAs are a very buzzword kind of thing where people just repeat what they've heard, whether they know what they're talking about or not. I'm speaking from first-hand experience as I have signed NDAs specifically in the video game industry. The thing about NDAs is literally every single one can be different. For instance, one of the contracts I signed was phrased in the way that I couldn't talk about anything at all from my experience, whereas another one said, you can talk about and confirm literally anything under the sun except that. That thing right there, you can deny it exists, you can lie about it, but you cannot confirm it under any circumstances. So contrary to what some people might think, yes, you can lie under NDA, and in fact it happens quite often in the industry. One recent example I like to point to is from Jesse McCartney, the voice of Roxas in the Kingdom Hearts series. He was doing a live Q&A session and was asked multiple times if he would be voicing Roxas in Kingdom Hearts 3, and this is what he said.
In Kingdom Hearts 3, I don't know. Everybody keeps asking me that. I haven't gotten a call yet. So maybe not.
He clearly lied and went so far to say that he hadn't even received a call, when in reality he had already finished recording his lines for the game. People under NDA are allowed to deny and lie. It's a fact. Now, why are people allowed to lie and deny? Well, it's pretty obvious. Let's take a look at this case in particular. If McCartney has a chat full of people asking him constantly about playing Roxas in KH3 and he just straight up ignores the question repeatedly, it looks incredibly suspicious. It's supposed to be a live Q&A after all. If he's dodging questions, it just looks suspicious. Likewise, if in an interview someone just says no comment or I don't know, it looks incredibly, suspect. It's much better for the brand and everyone involved to just lie about the situation. Additionally, some NDAs don't even allow you to say that you are under NDA until a certain time frame has been reached, like the release of the game in question. The bottom line is none of us regular speculators, to my knowledge, has ever seen what a Smash Bros. Newcomer NDA would look like or what it might entail. Sure, you can speculate, but no one can say for certain. Some NDAs allow you to lie, some NDAs say you can't comment at all on anything and encourage you to use a standard no comment answer. It is a case-by-case basis, and it also depends who is signing the contract, which is a factor that people almost never consider. Someone directly involved with the process will likely have a different NDA compared to someone who is only aware of the situation. So people like voice actors, music composers, or those helping with the input of the character design in some way could have vastly different NDAs. Additionally, someone higher up in the company or party involved will likely have a differently structured NDA as well. There are so many factors when considering NDAs, which is why it's, in my opinion, incredibly hard to gather any sort of useful information from these sort of developer comments. Let's examine a few of the circumstances around the talked about cases in reference to Smash Ultimate specifically. As we know, Banjo-Kazooie was revealed at E3 for Smash Ultimate. Now whenever NDAs come up, people love to point at these Grant Kirkhope comments from Twitter. Kirkhope randomly retweeted something from a fan suggesting Banjo should come to Smash, and Kirkhope added on his own comment saying, "Ha, totally." Another user replied saying, "I wrote Phil Spencer a couple years back about them giving the okay for Banjo and Smash for the Wii U. He said he would love them in, but it was up to Nintendo of America. Well, now's the best time. Come on guys, make it happen." And then Kirkhope replied again with, "I wouldn't hold my breath if I were you." Now what is interesting about this scenario? Well, the most interesting thing to me is that this whole thing was completely avoidable. A lot of times developers or people who know about these situations or characters are always ambushed in interviews from journalists with questions about Smash Bros. They are put on the spot to give an answer, and it's not really an avoidable situation where you can just walk away. You have to say something. This situation is nothing like that. Kirkhope goes out of his way in a social media setting to voice his opinion on the matter. There was no interview, he didn't have to comment at all. But he did. What does his NDA entail to allow him to go out there and reply to random users on Twitter about Banjo's chances in Smash? And he certainly had to sign an NDA since he was directly involved with composing the music. Now Kirkhope, of course, never directly confirmed that Banjo was in, and that could have been what his contract said. Hey Kirk, you can say anything you want as long as it's not direct confirmation in any way that Banjo's in Smash. We don't know what the NDA said, and Kirk self-inserted himself into a situation he didn't need to be in. Another thing to keep in mind is that Kirkhope is a freelance composer, and thus his NDA could be completely different just based on the fact that he doesn't represent a company like Rare or Microsoft. His mouth is his and his alone, and isn't speaking for or against the company behind him when he made those comments about Banjo. Another example is from SNK producer Yasuyuki Oda. Oda had an interview back in 2018 where this exchange happened. Of course, I also asked about the possibility of an SNK character in Smash Bros. The answer was not unexpected. I'd love that, please Nintendo-san. If Nintendo asked for a character for Smash Bros, he mentioned that a fun idea would be Poppy, Galford's dog from Samurai Showdown, on his own. A ninja dog would be a cool option. Now at the time, the vast majority of people were using this as evidence against an SNK rep, since if a rep was happening, there's a good chance Oda would know about it, and why would he phrase it in the way that he did? But of course, those people were all proved wrong when Terry Bogard arrived. It's hilarious to look back at this excerpt from the interview now, because out of all the iconic SNK characters, suggesting a ninja dog of all things is so troll, and he was obviously having a bit of fun with it since he most likely already knew Terry was going to be in, since the interview took place in late October of 2018 and the Smash DLC was finalized just a few weeks later. Again, in this case, Oda never outright says, no, there will be no SNK character. By saying he would love for that to happen, he playfully suggests that it is not the reality at this point. He denies it without an emphasis on the denial. In these 3 examples of NDAs, you see 3 totally different responses. McCartney specifically lies and denies, saying he has no idea what is going on and hasn't even been called. Kirkhope goes out of his way on Twitter to make reference to Banjo and Smash Brothers, but then sort of denies it could be happening with the "don't hold your breath" comment. He didn't go all out like McCartney, it's kind of a middle ground in a way. And then Oda is on the opposite end of the spectrum, where he's like, oh man, SNK and Smash? That would be great, wouldn't it? Haha, Nintendo call me, they should put this ninja dog in. It shows my point that basically with NDAs, each one is different. You never know what they could actually say in them, and it's hard to gather any type of sustainable evidence from developer comments that you assume would be under NDA if their character was in. I do think it's interesting that Maddie's answers were kinda lengthy, but you can chalk that up to a number of things. Him saying they've never been approached by Nintendo for Doomslayer and Smash really, to me, means absolutely nothing in terms of Doomslayer's chances. As I said, the fact that you can lie under NDA has been proven time and time again. Once you establish that fact, it's hard to see how anyone can draw as much from these developer comments. However, I know people out there will still see this as a hit against Doomslayer, and you're entitled to believe whatever you want to. But as far as I'm concerned, this pretty much doesn't hurt you Doom Bros' chances at all in any way. That being said, it will wrap up this video, guys. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below on this stuff, so please comment so we can discuss. As always, make sure to subscribe with the notification bell on to stay up to date with future content. My social media links down below. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.